Okay, so a couple of days ago, I came up with an idea for a new startup called Heliogen. Initially, the video was unlisted, but I've decided to make it public because I think the more people that watch this, as few as they may be, I think it's better to do this way versus having this video keep sitting in an unlisted format. So basically, Heliogen, if I may, HDLIO, right? This is a company started by Bill Gross, who is formerly from the Idea Labs and other endeavors. Idea Labs behind a lot of successful names. So there's a lot of there's a lot of potential here. There's a very strong team backing this project up, and this is the idea, basically the way it is right now. And like the math, they really figured out the math, and this has the potential to change the world. Uh, this is probably the most promising startup that I've personally noticed in the clean energy domain. And I don't follow clean energy news on a daily basis. I don't really follow any news on a daily basis. But this idea is so powerful and it's executed so well. It's got such a strong team backing it up that, oh, it's got a backers section. Oh, Steve Case is on there. That's pretty good. Oh, Bill Gates. Yeah, I knew about the Bill Gates backing up this project. Yeah, this has got like success written all over this. This has got like a massive scope and potential now and in the future. Now, my idea was that the existing Heliogen installations are encased in a double layer of bucky structures. There's a primary bucky structure and a secondary bucky structure with airflow in between. The airflow helps regulate the temperature for the shield itself, so it's got a longer life, it doesn't crack, it doesn't heat up the environment around it as well. The whole thing is encapsulated in order to be able to protect life. I'm assuming the human movement in and around installations like this is going to be heavily regulated. It's hard to do that with animals and insects, and that was hence the reason why I mentioned that the thing should be encased in a double layer of a bucky structure without the other provisions I made. So I'm not going to get into the details because I've made that video specifically in order to share that. And like I said, that's now public. Again, the idea in a nutshell was there's a couple of components to it. So there was a CCW, which is right here, which I call the colossal convex wall, or you can say colossal wall of convex lenses, something like that. But the thing was that the colossal wall of convex lenses is concentrating the solar, redirecting it to these petal-like structures, which would be like the subunits on this. So when it shifts in a second, I will show. Well, that's really it. Now it's just, it looks like it's one big unit. Before it was in earlier versions, it was like this whole thing is, you could say it's one petal. This whole thing looks, I don't know how big this is in terms of scale, but that would be one petal, right? So that's like this part right here. Initially, this was in the shape of 5 or 6 petals. I think that's why I drew it like this. You could split them up too. It depends, because the sun doesn't move that fast, right? So the movements are going to be in the domains of minutes, because the angle will change based on the minutes. It wouldn't be seconds. It wouldn't be a single minute. So I don't know what how the movement will change and what's the optimal path. The problem with this suggestion is, and I was doing some basic optics again. I didn't spend a lot of time here, but the rays converge across particular points. So these images are free again. So if there's a ray coming here, so this is the source, and the ray is coming here, then it's going to refract and it's going to go this way. This ray is going to go straight down. right? So there are rays coming here too. So I don't know how they're going to refract. Now, if the object, if it's somewhere else, the rays are going to refract a little differently. And that's really what I'm talking about. So the sun is not going to move with respect, obviously, right? So there's a couple options here. And that's why, again, I made this video public. So one is to do what I just shared, but that may not work because of the relative position. So I did some rudimentary searches here, but I couldn't come up with a very good answer. I don't know what happens. How do you change the color here? Raw. Bear with me here. Oh, here we go. And how do you make this? I'll just do it this way. So if this was, no, this would, how do I want to do this? I should have thought about this in advance. Well, okay, so I'm gonna think in random terms, right? And I'm happy to do a brainstorm. I didn't hear back from anyone. I didn't hear back from Heliogen about this. I sent them emails, but didn't hear back. So anyway, so I don't chase. I'm sharing this idea with them openly. Uh, so one of the things is what would I what like the thing is we like the goal is to get concentrated or just solar to this part here, right? So this is the, why is this not working? This part, this is the area. This is the this is where you want to get solar. Well, ideally you want to get solar here, but the way Heliogen works is that they're redirecting the solar uh, like this. So this is the core Heliogen proposition right now, kind of, sort of, right? I am recommending updates to this with the Bucky structure, the CCW. What else would I likely introduce, if I may, into this construct? Well, the first thing, let's pick a color. Blue is a good color. We want the structure itself, in this case, to, oh, let's just pick a random color right now. What else would I put? I would put some kind of a float structure somewhere in, this is not scale based on scale. So if this is the real estate, this would be floating somewhere, I don't know, a couple of tens of meters, maybe more, maybe less from the structure, right? And then I would put this or this. So I would put either the CCW let's pick a different color or something. So I would, so this is a blimp, right? B for blimp or aerostat. And then this will work in combination with a CCW, which, well, they're both the same. So I'm just going to demonstrate here. Or it's going to work in combination with this thing here. So we're just call them petals. Huh? So instead of ground-based stations, now you have something floating in the air, redirecting solar to this thing. Again, you run into the same problem. Safeguarding life. Because if something runs through this thing, it's going to get fried, right? And also there's this, again, there's this problem of modulating the rays. Okay, anyway, so this is one thing. Another thing I was thinking was, what if you could, I'm just thinking out loud. Another thing I was thinking was, what if you could daisy chain convex lenses. And I don't really know what will happen in this situation. So if you've got rays coming in, right, like this, and they converge at some point, and then you put a convex lens again exactly where they converge. So will that convex lens converge it even more and make it more kind of concentrated? I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know how lenses are formed, what kind of material are they formed out of, what is actually happening to the photon. I know it sounds like a very rudimentary question, and my intuitive guess is that depending on the material, the light rays are not going to get crunched or squished more. They're not going to refract more because it's already refracted and it's converging at a particular point. So if you, wherever that point is, happens to be, imagine that point happens to be, and you put another lens there at the right angle. This doesn't look exactly symmetrical, but if you put another lens right here, right? I don't think this is going to refract more. I think it's going to just go through straight. It's going to be a straight line, so it's not going to get concentrated. But maybe you could do something with the aperture of that lens. Maybe you can make it out of different materials. And maybe you can put a whole bunch of them here, right? You can put one here, you can put one here. And maybe you could put mirrors here, somewhere over here. And then light would come in from a variety of different sources. It's going to get, the convex lens is going to do its thing. And all of them are going to hit one target. So maybe you don't need to daisy chain them like this. Maybe you could have a chain of convex, but that's what the whole thing was with the colossal convex wall in the first place. But maybe again, there's a materials angle here or something like this. So, anyways, I was just thinking about this. I kind of wonder. Like, there's a couple of questions that this video, like this segment, I guess, has. I wish I could do this with more people. It would be a lot more cool, collaborative. The question that I'm thinking of is how big of a Bucky structure can you enable? Because I think that will be crucial. And the biggest one I have seen in an industrial setting, and I haven't seen this personally, YouTube videos for desalination came up in my feed, and I think they're making something in Saudi Arabia, which looks quite expansive for a Bucky structure. I think it's a UK-based company that is doing some work in the northwestern part of Saudi Arabia. I think they're building a new city of some sort, and they want to put this new technology there, which apparently is not going to create any drying when it comes to desalinating water, and it's basically that's a different idea. I'm going to talk about that next in the other video. But that's the biggest Bucky structure that one of the bigger ones. So I really wonder, like, it depends on the breakthrough materials. How big of a Bucky structure can you make? And it would be pretty cool if Heliogen would indeed go in the Bucky structure with the airflow, with some means to be able to concentrate energy. And maybe you could have multiple layers of Bucky structure. So you have this subunit, right, of this two-layer Bucky structure. But what if there were games in materials, you could create a bigger version of the Bucky structure, and you would basically have CCWs in the outer shells. This is an interesting thought. Let me hold on to this. So now you have this structure, okay? You have a central structure. This could be like a single layer of single layer Bucky structure, but you have the towers within it, and the towers can move based on their relative position. If you go to the original video, this one, I don't want to get rid of this thing I scribbled here, and I can't click on that link right now. But the original video where I talk about the classroom of the future, I draw it somewhere here and talk about this movable surf, the ground or something. But so now you can have towers, okay? You just put the towers in the initial structure, and then there's the colossal Bucky structure here. And then within those Bucky structures, you have these basically, okay? And this is where you're gonna put on the tracks, these tracks right here. So they will be on some kind of a track. You can have multiple, you can have maybe 1, 2, 3, and they will move based on where the sun is. So the sun usually does something like this. It usually, if this is east and this is west, it's gonna go like this. It may go like this, or it may go like that. It may go like this or that too, I think. So if the sun is moving like this, then instead of being on a track, maybe these things should be on a tether. Maybe they will be on some kind of a platform, like an arch, not arch. And these platforms would go over like this. So let's represent things. You know, it's getting a little. I guess I can use this. This is my wrist thingy. So this one right here in the middle with the towers is this thing, okay? And you can imagine there's some towers there, right? So then there would be like an arch, and the sun is too far from here. There's the sun there, but okay, imagine this is the sun now. The sun is coming in this way, right? Sun is coming this way. So right now it's like this, and there's not one or two of them. There's three of them. There's three of these, and they're on some structure, maybe tethers or arc. And so when the sun is like this, they're at the right distance from the towers because the thing has to concentrate. So it has to calibrate. So it doesn't have to be on an arch or tethers. It could just be on a robotic hand, because that robotic hand would give it the maneuverability, right? Right? And so you have like and the structure doesn't have to be a wall. It could be expansive. Oops. However expansive, you can actually make it in a shielded Bucky structure. So now these are the towers. This is, say, how big of an area do we want to represent? Okay, I have a newsletter from UNHCR, which I haven't opened yet. So, okay, so this doesn't represent scale, but maybe we want this to be bigger. And then the question is if this can sustain the heat. But okay, so now the rays are coming in. There's a series of convex lenses here. They're at the right distance. Maybe they're supported by a robotic arm. Maybe it's tethers. Maybe it's an arch. And so now the sun is there somewhere, right here. And this is now concentrating all of the concentrated solar on this tower. I think this would work. I think this will work. As crazy of this idea this may be, I think this could help increase throughput for Heliogen. So now you have one of these, one here, and one here. So you're maximizing the real estate in terms of what you can extract from the environment. Because instead of putting all of the receivers, which is the existing Heliogen design, on the ground, you are just putting the like what you were introducing some other construct in order to harness the energy and redirect it here. That's what you want, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe more. Maybe you could distribute them and have a whole cluster of them. So it looks like a baseball glove of sorts. It will look like a giant baseball glove here, right? Something like that. Or maybe you don't want it to look like a baseball glove. You want it to be like something like this, right? It would look something like this because you want to maximize the sun falling there. And then each one of the lenses in that thing would modulate at the right area in order to provide and redirect concentrated solar here. That's what you want. That's what you want. I really have a feeling heliogen could be a big thing. I'm very uneducated. I know nothing about optics. I know nothing about clean energy. Not much. Um, I wish others would build up on this idea. Thanks very much. Have a nice day.